Gesui, one and all. Mankind, creatures alike. And we're here sharing this room with Abe. He's been quite chatty this morning. We left off with the king of Moab, the Moabites, saying no twice to allow the Israelites to pass through their borderland, their western borderland. And so the Israelites are turning west toward Canaan, as a matter of fact. And this is the area. They're over here towards Moab now, traveling this distance. And the Aradites, the king of Arad, heard that the Israelis were sending spies. No one likes spies, even way back then. So he decided to fight against them. Not very successfully, though. What's intriguing is the way Moses writes this. And being victor, he took the prey of them. As though Israel is a singular person, as though Israel is Israel, Jacob, versus the children of Israel, or the multitude, or the army of Israel. Isn't that quite intriguing? But Israel, binding himself by vow to our Lord, said, if thou wilt deliver this people into my hand, I will destroy their cities. So, this skirmish that the Aradites, Israel's defeated that, but now they just they heard that the king of Arad just is going to keep coming and coming. So they want to pacify this. So they're asking quiesce help. After all, he did say he would deliver Canaan to them, binding himself by vow. So the Lord heard the prayers of Israel and delivered the Canaanites, the Aradites, whom they slew. The Israelites overthrew their cities, Arad and everything. And they called the name of this place Hormah. And there's another word for it. This one you've heard of, anathema. Hormah, anathema. The Israelites marched from the mountain, which is called Hor. And we already learned what the mountain of Hor was about, right? This is where we lost Aaron. And I showed you a path a couple days ago to the Red Sea. Well, that's the path that they are taking to the Red Sea. And they're going to try again because it's the easier path. It's the path that Quies is directing them towards, I believe. But there's something else to it too, because it's the way Quies is handling this as an incredible tactician is he's hitting the periphery, the entire boundary of Canaan, minus the west, which is the sea, and the southwest. But other than that, they're going back towards, they're going to try to compass the land of Edom once again. But here we go with the complaining again. It's tough. It's tough marching 1 million plus people. The same food, same provisions. You don't really have a home because you're packing up and you're leaving again. So the people began to be weary. They began to be weary of the journey and all the work that goes into it. So they were speaking against our Lord and Moses once again. Here comes the murmurs once again. Why did you bring us out of Egypt? To die in the wilderness? there wanteth bread, and waters, there are none. So we had bread and everything in Egypt, but here, nothing. Our soul now loathe at this most light meat. So they're disgusted by the manna, even though it has an exquisite taste and an unbeatable taste. And the waters out of springs that Quias gives them, they're just griping once again. But like I said, a million plus. This is why these kings become nervous. You have to remember, it's just not a few people or a platoon, or it is a million plus strong. It's a nation that's marching through this area. So, because of these complaints, Quias sent upon the people fiery serpents. And these serpents carried plagues and deaths, destroyed many of these complainers. So they came to Moses and said, we have sinned because we have spoken against our Lord and spoken against you. Time and time again. The complaints come in, they apologize profusely and timelessly. Quias forgives. This is what you have to understand about your life. We do make mistakes, but it's the understanding of your mistake and confessing it truly and doing repentance. And repentance just isn't always about prayers. If you steal, you must pay it back. If you harm, then you're responsible for the bill. On and on and on. This is penance, true penance. So we have these fiery serpents. And you thought you were going to read science fiction in here. Only Quias can do this. These fiery serpents just bursting with flames, carrying plague and biting the Israelites. These were sent by our Lord. They bit and they killed many of these griping, complaining dissenters. And so they're begging Moses, pray to take from us these serpents. And Moses, again, he prays for the people. Abe prays for the people. And our Lord spoke to him, saying, make a brazen serpent and set it for a sign. Let's examine this a second. Make a brazen or fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. That's the way the Hebrews read it. Make a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. Nonetheless, Quias forbids the images of idols. We learned this already before. However, in this instance, it's interesting that he commands for this brazen, this brazen, this fiery, this brazen creation for a good purpose. There'll be several more instances like this when Elohim uses the bad and the forbidden for the purposes of good. And our Lord continues. Now, anyone that's been bitten by these fiery serpents, all you have to do is look upon this totem, and you shall live. How about that, huh? Jesus has already proven not even death can conquer the glory and the power of our Lord. During the Living Testament, Christ shall once again, and we're living the Living Testament, we're part of it. Should be ecstatic about that. Christ shall once again prove that there is no evil in the universe that he cannot triumph over. And this is going to be validated during the apocalypse. For those of us who were with us when we went over the apocalypse, when only Christ, will be our knight and glorious armor who can defeat the Antichrist and Satan. For his first begotten is us. So many of us are healed upon gazing and just accepting the glory of his reign. How incredible is that? So the totem, and for now, for us to accept and to look upon Christ, upon his holy Eucharist, to accept it, are healed. Moses, therefore made this brazen serpent, this fiery serpent, and he sets it for a sign. Well, Christ expands this erecting of this fiery serpent of himself as when he's crucified. Can you see the parallel there? So anyone that was struck by these fiery serpents, they were healed. It's intriguing that Quies doesn't denigrate or take away these fiery serpents. They are still there. Interesting enough. Still our complaints and murmurs, still our grumblings, even silently in their little tents. So they are still there, but he gives them a path towards healing. And it's an easy one. Just look upon his glory, look upon his totem. And the children of Israel, they began marching again, and they went towards the territory of Aboth, which is here. So they were over here, and they came all the way back over here towards Moab area, and this is where they are now, in this territory. And this is where we will stop. When we next meet, we'll continue with the second video, and we're going to see what happens when they pitch their tents in Dibon, as far as the wilderness, in this territory of Moab. So until then, Pax Vobis. Say goodbye, Abe.